Mr. Foos joined the Madison community in 2007, and we haven't been the same since. In addition to teaching economics, he is the lead mentor to new teachers at Madison. He serves as the head swim and dive coach, and last year was recognized as All-Night Coach of the Year. Outside of school, this Eagle Scout has been married to his beautiful wife for 16 years and is an enthusiastic father of 2.5 children. One is on the way. Please welcome Mr. Andrew Foos, or as we like to call him simply, Foos.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill. Thank you, Hannah, and the class of 2014 for your gracious invitation to speak before you today. It's a tremendous honor for me to stand before you on this momentous moment in your lives. The class of 2014 holds a special place in my heart. You're the last class that I've been able to work with for your entire 4 years at Madison. I met many of you as freshmen, greeting you for your first class as part of my first period world history course. And now as seniors, I had the pleasure of working with you again, this time in economics, and teaching the last class that some of you had at Madison. I've enjoyed the opportunity to get to know so many of you throughout the past 4 years and watching you mature into some really impressive young adults. Speaking before you today is a pretty intimidating thing. It's been a long time since I addressed a crowd this large and had this much of your attention. The last time was in 2006 during my previous professional life when I spoke before the Chicago Chamber of Commerce. And back then there were like 400 executives in the room. Today we've got a couple thousand, so I'm pretty nervous. What I learned in my previous professional career is that when you start a presentation, you should start it with some sort of picture or personal anecdote, typically about your kids or family, so that things go a little smoother. It's a lot harder for people to judge you harshly if they have a mental image of your family in their head. And so I'm going to go ahead and start by talking about some of my kids tonight. The first I'm going to talk about is my 10-year-old. His name is Patrick. He's the brains of our family. He's way smarter than me. He has an insatiable appetite for books and Legos. Lillian is our next kid, and she just turned 8 this year, and is definitely the beauty of our family. She has a sweet and tender heart. And then our next one is Foos 3.0, who hasn't arrived yet, but will in August. And I can't say a whole lot yet about him or her. I can say that he or she has acrobatics down, though, because according to my wife, they're doing flips all the time. But that's not all my kids. There's lots of other kids. I have many, many other kids. And you guys in this class, in this school, are my kids. It confuses my friends when I talk about my kids, because I'll say, oh, my kids were all met this year, or my kids just did a great job on their AP exam. And my friends go, wait, I thought you had little kids. And I say, well, okay, yes, I'm sorry. I'm not talking about my biological kids. I'm talking about my other kids. And it starts to make sense to them. But the reality is that when I work with you, you are my kids. I care about you like you're my own kids. How couldn't I? I spend more time with you guys in class than I do with my own kids during the school year. And so it's my intent to treat you like my own children to the best of my ability. So having just celebrated Father's Day, many of us have fatherhood on our minds and our hearts, and many of us are blessed with good fathers who loved and provided for us. Fathers who provided for us in innumerable ways. And this community lost just a man just recently with the passing of Toss Klein. My own family suffered a similar loss when my wife's grandfather passed away a few weeks ago. And I know that there are others in this community who have experienced similar loss. But despite our mourning, we look back on their lives fondly on the love that each of these men demonstrated for us in their lives. Their examples speak to the best of our nature, and they serve as standards by which to judge ourselves and our lives. As a father of 3 of my own children, I strive to be the best parent I can for the time I have with them. And as a teacher, I serve what's called in loco parentis, which means in the place of the parent. I don't replace your mom and dad, but I do serve on their behalf. And that's a pretty substantial responsibility that I have, and one that I take pretty seriously. So what I want to talk about today is how I attempt to go about that responsibility with you and with my own kids, and hopefully in the end to encourage you to live your lives in a similar way and to go forth into this world in a way that will help develop positive relationships with other people. The first thing I try to do for you and my own kids is to try and give love freely and unconditionally. Do you remember what it was like when you were little, when you were in elementary school or even before, when the love of your family and friends was a guarantee? I think it's one of the greatest gifts of youth that you can do pretty much whatever you want. and people will still love you. You can wear whatever ridiculous outfit you want and no one cares. You don't have to match colors or patterns. Whatever you put on is all good. There's always tomorrow. Try and fail. Even when you occasionally crash and burn, there's no fear of rejection. And why? Because no matter how badly things go, there's always a warm hug and kiss from somebody back home. There's no condemnation, no judgment, just unconditional love. I didn't completely understand what that meant until I had my own kids. I always thought I understood it. I always knew my parents loved and cared for me, but I didn't really get it until I had my own. And it was at that point that I could finally understand just how profound true love is and how profoundly unearned it is. When my son was born, I underwent a radical transformation. I understood what it meant for the first time to be willing to lay down my life for somebody else. But why? Why did I feel that way? Patrick hadn't done anything. He was just a baby. He hadn't earned a thing. But I loved him and his sister and their soon-to-be-born sibling, not because of what they could do for me, but simply because of who they are. And I feel the same way about you guys as my students and all the kids that I get to work with. Believe it or not, I would do just about anything for each one of you, for my students and my athletes. And why? Simply because you're my students and athletes. You're part of my tribe. And it's not anything that you earn. It doesn't matter whether you're a star student or you're in detention or somewhere in between. You get my care and concern because you're mine. And there's nothing that you can do to earn it, and there's nothing that you can do to lose it. It just comes with being a part of our Warhawk Nation and community. Loving unconditionally isn't always easy, but nothing in life worth doing ever is. But when you do, you can change the course of someone's life in a positive way. The second thing I try to do is to do what's best for other people. You've heard it a million times. When you were little, your parents told you to eat your green beans. During the summers, they told you to stop watching TV and go out and play. During the past semesters, you were told by parents and teachers both to turn in those missing assignments. In each of those cases, the reason was always the same: because we know it's good for you. Your parents and teachers naturally want what is best for you. We discipline you not because we're sadists and enjoy it, but because we believe it will help strengthen you for the future. As the Apostle Paul said in his letter to the Hebrews, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. As parents, we want our children, you, to grow and develop into the best students, athletes, and people you can be. Your class has seen a number of impressive accomplishments, because you've done certainly that. Your class has won 2 state titles in lacrosse. You were state runners-up in lacrosse and personally swimming and diving. You had 9 national merit finalists, just to name a few of your accomplishments. In short, your class has been killing it since you walked through the doors as freshmen. You can clap, but that's okay. It may have felt sometimes like we were never satisfied with you or your efforts or results. Sending bi-weekly grade reports certainly has that sort of effect. It can create some tension at times. But that tension is caused primarily because we as parents and teachers want to encourage your very best. You may feel sometimes like we're going to kill you for the mistakes that you make. But trust me, we won't kill you. My son can attest to this. Patrick, once in a fit of love for his sister, grabbed a rock, and he walked up to the side panel of our car, and he carved her name in the side of the car. And then he drew a picture of her, and it was beautiful, and he was very proud of it. I was not so happy. I was pretty upset. And yes, he was punished. But in the midst of my frustration and anger, Patrick never lost my love. He was never in danger of being left behind. And the same is true for your parents and your teachers here at school at Madison, even when some of you have still not yet turned in all your work to me. And you know who you are. So this afternoon, let me be perfectly clear to you. We may push you as parents and teachers to do your very best, but at the end of the day, what you accomplish cannot make us love you anymore, and what you fail to accomplish cannot make us love you less. So go into the world fearlessly, tackle challenges with courage, and know that we will be with you no matter what. The last thought I have for you that I want to leave is the importance of self-sacrifice. doing for other people. In his course, Financial Peace University, noted personal finance author and radio host Dave Ramsey talks about the importance of emergency funds. He counsels people to save up to $1,000 as fast as they can in case of emergency. For many people, that's a completely daunting task. But as Ramsey points out, if instead of an emergency fund, you had to save $1,000 to save your child's life, finding that money would be super easy. As parents, we freely give of ourselves so that you can have what you need. It happens in small ways like at the dinner table when that last piece of pizza somehow finds its way on your plate even though I'm hungry. Or in big ways when your parents give up stuff that they would rather have in order to pay for your college education. I've attempted to live out that same ideal of self-sacrifice during my time at Madison as I work with many of you. That's why I put so much time and effort into my work with the swim and dive team. That's why I write letters of recommendation on a few days' notice, or in one case, 24 hours. That's why I stay late after school to work one-on-one with my students. When you give of yourself, you have a positive impact on other people and on their lives. Sacrificing what is best for yourself in order to do what is best for others is, in the end, what true love is all about. So as you enter into college and the adult world, seek out others who will give willingly of themselves for you. Associate with those who place your well-being above their own. And build relationships with only those who accept you for who you are. Accept nothing less from yourself and others. By doing so, you will not only find peace and security for yourselves, but you will begin to truly make this world a better place for all of us. As I close, let me say again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak before you this afternoon. Thank you for the great memories that each one of you have left with me over the past 4 years. Thanks for all the times that we've shared together. Best of luck to each of you in the coming years. Be sure to visit often. May God bless each one of you, and congratulations on your graduation.